Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of LinkedIn Lunchbreak, Event Strategy and Networking. I am Guillermo Bravo. I am the Chief Evangelist at MediaGel. We're a laser-focused dispensary advertising and marketing agency focused on compliant, scalable digital strategies designed to increase foot traffic and boost e-commerce sales. Today, we're joined by Wendy Campbell. Wendy is the National Sales Director at MJ Unpacked, MJ Brand Insights, and has previously worked at the National Sales Director for Dope Magazine, as well as High Times. How are you, Wendy?
Oh, thanks for having me here. It's such an awesome experience.
We're happy to have you. Wendy, as you know, there's a ton of cannabis events coming up, and you're the OG when it comes to networking and event strategy. Today, we want to pick your brain and help our viewers come up with a game plan for events they plan on attending. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself, your career in events, and the cannabis industry.
Sure. Exciting times in the event space in this 2021 post-COVID. Everybody wants to get out, right? I think in the cannabis space, we are a highly social crew, and I mean that. For me, the better part of 30 years, I've been working in consumer packaged goods, and specifically being the person that was looking at events, choosing the events, and how our brand would execute those events and womb to tomb it, right? From the planning to the execution on site, and then that event follow-up. So Shell Oil, Mattel Toys, Hint Mint, and then cannabis space, Dope Magazine and High Times. And now with MJ Unpacked and MJ Brand Insights, really, having the opportunity to create something that's new and different with MJ Unpacked, being the first and only event in the cannabis industry that serves the specific needs of cannabis brand and retail executives, plus adding in investors. Check off everything you need to check off on your list for events. We got it. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. You certainly have a breadth of knowledge that we can't wait to tap into. And it's clear that many businesses think they, just sign up to exhibit, show up to the event, and they'll just, get a booth and they'll start swimming in leads. But that's not the case. With hundreds of cannabis events planned for this summer and fall, to be determined based on COVID. But how would you decide which events would be the best ROI for a business to attend?
Yeah, I love the ROI question because we're always looking to connect dollars and cents to experience, right? And sales activity. I like to talk about, in addition to ROI, return on objectives. What is your business strategy and objective? What outcomes are you working at from a high level strategic piece? And then how do you play that into the events you're choosing, the sales strategies you're taking on? So first, let's look at the objectives. Do you need to meet with new customers? Where are you going to find them? Do you need to solidify relationships that you currently have? Are you brand new into the market? And so you need to go where community is. What level of professional do you want to engage with to make the most impact? So really start with the ROO, return on objectives, and take it from there when you're seeking the right event to fit your objectives and your ROI.
I like that. We're definitely going to use that for our attending this event.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. And what are the key factors that you consider when a business asks you if an event is right for them?
I like to know what events they think are right for them. Right? Yeah. Let's talk about what events do you typically do? Have you always done? Do you plan on doing? And why? And what is are you getting the results, that you look for? Is that why you go back to them? Or is it kind of like a security blanket? It's the only thing you've ever done. Yeah. So you always do it again. And then okay, now that we know the answers to that, what are your objectives today? Are they the same? Or have things changed? Has your business changed? And really in cannabis, where we are now with the market expansion, you're like looking on the verge of interstate commerce, maybe a safe banking act, right? And I don't know if it's 6 years or 6 months, but federal legalization is coming along the way too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might have strategy that is multiple pieces of the strategy for your company to grow where you are, to expand outside of where you are. Are you looking to set yourself up on the national stage so that you can be acquired quickly? Are you looking at an exit strategy?
Yeah.
Are you looking to access capital? Because I have it all, but let's start with what you're looking for, right? And create the best fit, right? And always tell them to open their eyes to look what's new and different, so that we don't get in the rut of doing the same thing over and over again when we actually might want something that's different. We just don't know about it yet.
So introducing into that network and really building that connection with someone new, something innovative, someone that you may never have thought of is a great addition to your network.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
And once you've decided on which event to attend, how do you come up with a sales outreach strategy? Like how much prep time and work should happen before, during, and while exhibiting at the event?
Oh, yes. Well, you certainly want to put all those pieces on the whiteboard, right? Once you decide this is the event or events we're going to do, because the time will move fast. The before time, the during time, and the after time, they all pretty much go zoom. And faster in cannabis, I find time just moves too fast. So strategy wise, again, what is the objective?
Yeah.
Are you going to be exhibiting? Are you there walking an event? Are you sponsoring an event? Are you hosting any parties? Tactfully, what is the current customer base? Are you looking to network to create new relationships, to begin engagement? Are you looking to partner? And then really start researching that event. Ask for their attendee list, ask for the exhibitor list, start mapping your show, if you will. Set appointments, create meetings in advance, particularly with your current clients, so that you can be sure to have those relationship building moments. And then determine who do you want to approach, right? And really set 3 priorities for each day so that you're able to accomplish the most important things, those big rocks, when you have the most amount of energy, because these events are draining, and that you can make sure that you're executing on your objectives. Because once you get to an event, everything is shiny and glistening, and you can be pulled in so many different directions. So kind of resetting it each day while you're there, enjoying the experience while you're there, asking, one of the great things about networking is what is someone else enjoying the most about the event? What's the highlight? Because oftentimes then you'll hear something you didn't know about, and you can go track that down. Take notes, whether it's on your phone, on a notebook, take pictures of business cards, share information as fast as possible. Make sure you have a lead gen opportunity in your booth or via your sponsorship activation. So your working and your presence as a company at the event is working for you. And set the tone for the follow-up. Before you even get into the event, all of your team members have to know what the tone and tenor and execution milestones are for follow-up. Because the worst thing is to go and spend the time and the energy and the effort and then to fail on the follow-up. So they're all really, really important pieces, but that follow-up and doing it quickly, timely, accurately, and really clearing your schedule for at least 24 to 2 business days post-event, so that follow-up is your priority, right? Makes a huge difference. So.
Exactly. And we're going with the 30-10-60 game plan, where 30% of our efforts going to planning, before the event, 10% is going to be at the event, being active, networking, and then 60% is going to be on the follow-up, right? So I'm ensuring that the sales team is prioritizing, the right point of contacts, who are our rocks in this, from the event, and who's going to really get us to our, not KPI or ROI, but return on
objective.
There you go.
Right? Absolutely. And I think too, depending on the event, depending on the industry, just to kind of tie into that, I've been in industry events where I was selling out of the booth, right? I was writing purchase orders. So it was an order writing show, right? And oftentimes truly it was an ROI event, right? But I think when you look broader and you look at that objective, if it's not an order writing event, then what is it? It's a relationship. It's a connection. It's a collaboration. I like to say, if you can find the time and space at an event, which we're doing at MJ Impact, is creating moments of time and space so that you can talk to somebody, right? Because if you do I like this person? I like you already, right? I like you. And so I would be interested in having a conversation with you to build a level of trust. Yeah. Right. And if you can like someone, you can trust someone, then there's a really good likelihood that you can move into some type of business relationship with them. And that it comes back to your objectives. So make sure you use that 10% of that time in that objective to give yourself time and space to network, meet people where they are. Right. And then the post, to your point, that 60%. Hey, we had a great time chatting. I specifically remember when we stood next to the XYZ, or, you shared your highlight with me and I went and checked that out. You were so right about that. So building that relationship and then enter them into how can we find some synergies to work our businesses together?
Exactly. Be present and authentic.
Yes.
Right. And also just, as you pointed out here, remember and, make sure you remember everyone's name, what you, the basics, what you were doing, what you were talking about. So, you're not speaking to them cold when you connect in a few days, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
make it personal.
Make it personal. So that's the thing, whether it's your phone with a picture and some notes, or, you're old school like me, you take your pen out of your back pocket and you write a quick note on that business card. And if you're using any type of lead gen and it gives you the opportunity to input data about the conversation, do it, right? Because you will not remember every conversation once you wrap up the show, travel home, get back to your dog and your kids and all that traffic and whatever it is you deal with, and end up at your desk with all these business cards, right? Yep. Or the leads list from the retrieval system. So really, to your point, that's very key to be able to have those follow-up conversations, is to remember who you met, what you talked about, where you met, etc. Good points.
And remember their face. One thing I've done in the past is actually taken a selfie with that person and then put that as their profile pic in my phone.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
the easiest way.
Another great tip.
Now I remember you.
Yeah, or even while you're there, do a LinkedIn. Like I've done it. I've taken my cards at the end of the day and connected with people on LinkedIn. So now they're in my social network, technically. Yeah. And so that helps to stay in contact with them too and keep the relationship top of mind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you spoke a lot about booths. I know a lot goes into planning booth designs and giveaways. Can you tell us, what businesses can do to add a little wow factor to their booths? Like, do any booth designs stand out as being your favorite over the years?
Oh gosh, so many. So many questions and so many great opportunities. And, I'm really going to take it back to MJ Unpacked because that's what I live and breathe these days. Our event is in October at Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, October 21st and 22nd. And we've reinvented and reimagined what a traditional trade show booth experience can be like, because a lot of the brands that are exhibiting have never exhibited. One, there's never been a national event, and most of our industry trade shows are really heavily supply side focused. and a brand or a retailer may attend, but exhibiting is something different. They may have done a B2C event at a dispensary, but actually having a booth, what's that? So we've got brand showcases where it's an untethered booth experience. You're not standing in a 10 by 10 waiting for people to come to you. You're putting your products on display. Let them speak for you. I like to think of it as a museum or an art gallery or a dispensary experience where the consumer or the shopper or the attendee or even your fellow exhibitors can explore and kind of make it an adventure game to see what brands or exhibitors are all about. So who are you as a brand, right? Regardless if you're doing a showcase or a 10 by 10 or a 20 by 20, etc. What do you want people to know about you? Do they need to touch and feel your products? Is it your packaging and your messaging? Is it the profile of your products? What makes you best, first, or different? Are you launching? Launching new products at a trade event is a great opportunity because you get to be the star of the show. You have something to talk about to bring people into your booth. When we think kind of changing to answer the second half of your question, there's only one trade booth that I've ever been involved with that had an elevator. So when I worked
there you go.
Right? So Shell Oil, SEMA, biggest sponsor of the event, and it was a triple tiered booth that spent over a week to build out, and there was an elevator. So that really stands out for me as being an event. But I used to do 20 trade shows a year. So at a certain point, there's a lot of blur that comes along. But the things that also stand out are the people. Yeah. We tend to end up doing kind of the trade show road tour together, right? If you're in the like industry with similar products as well, you kind of become booth neighbors or trade show teammates or buddies. So really the people too, and learning about their business and their life, keeping those connections alive.
Yeah, it's all about networking. And some people are great at networking, others, it might not come so natural to them. Like, what advice do you have for people who are nervous when trying to make connections with other people?
You know what? Be okay being nervous.
Yeah.
Right. Easier said than done. But I went to a trade event by myself once, and I remember thinking, I've never done this alone. Ended up being the best experience because I wasn't held back by anything or anyone. It was my own schedule. So, be okay with being nervous. Know that the people that are there for a reason, and it includes you, right? It includes wanting the chance to get to meet others. Go to conference sessions, go to where there's going to be a lot of people. Right. Yeah. Visit booths. You've done that kind of prospecting or identified where you want to go and what you want to accomplish each day that you're there. So make sure you step right into that and introduce yourself. Say you're new, say you've never been here, say, you look forward to learning about them live and in person, and really get people to start talking about themselves and or their business. And this is where everyone starts to get more relaxed. Yeah. I'm okay with the fact that there's a lobby bar or a bar within the environment. Cannabis, a lot of times there's consumption events. Being in that circle or being close to the bar, it's easy to start conversations with people in those environments. But I truly do think that in the cannabis industry, just simply saying, hey, my name's Wendy, I'd like to learn about what you're doing here. And great conversations come from that. So just step into it a little bit. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Ask questions. You don't have to talk that much.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask questions. Ask questions. Be curious, right? Yeah. Be curious. And then typically in return, those that you ask the questions to, because you listened, right? You asked and you listened, they're going to want to know about you. Why are you here? What brings you here? So it becomes a two-way street.
So have your elevator pitch ready once they're ready to reciprocate, right?
Yeah. Why are you there? Right.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah.
So you can call it the elevator pitch. Sure. You've rehearsed it. But again, it comes back to that authenticity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And as far as, all right, I've networked all day. I have 100 people in my lead list. Like, what's your favorite post-event follow-up tactic? Because people are going to be getting bombarded with messages, trying to get meetings set up. What's going to make you stand out?
Something I'm going to point out here that we haven't talked about through this conversation is take care of your health and yourself. Get yourself back into that normalized routine, right?
Yeah.
Because events can be so tiring, and you could be, your schedule changes. You might not eat right. You might not drink enough water, all those things. So make sure you're at your best as you tackle that follow-up, because you're going to need it, and have that cadence, right? Have your outbound email, phone calls, scripting, messaging set and planned. Have the multiple follow-ups that it may take and that messaging that it may take. Complete all the transactional deal memos, if you will, first, right? Always follow that money. And really look at it as, hey, we just want to continue our conversation, right? We want to continue our conversation. So that's going to include emails, phone calls, social media, additional Zoom meetings, the next time we can network, and bring everybody on the team along that path, right? That we're all doing that, and then circle back, right? Follow up with your team to make sure that everyone's hitting those milestones and completing all the follow-up that needs to happen so that you can actually look at an ROI, right? So that's the bottom end of that is once all that follow-up is complete, create a time frame for when you're going to be able to measure the event. Because I do find in cannabis that we don't always truly measure the after of the event. And as there's new and more exciting events popping up, we want to be able to actually say, did we hit the ROI? And did we hit our return on objective? Was that really the greatest show that we always thought that it was? And executing through that follow-up is what's going to get you there, right? To be able to have those milestones and metrics.
Exactly. And if you don't already have one in place, invest in a CRM so that you can track all of this. And then, if you do it correctly, you can track any of the opportunities, you can add a value to it, and you really know your ROI or return on.
I love that you said about invest in the CRM. It's such a part of my person. I don't even think of it as like an extra, but it's true. And I've had the chance to use several different ones, but everything needs to be captured, right?
Yep.
So getting all of that leads list and importing it into your CRM and doing that follow-up will give you that roadmap to visually see what you're doing.
Exactly. Whether you're using a HubSpot or Salesforce or Pipedrive or any of the others.
There's so many. Pick your flavor. We use Salesforce. I'm okay with it.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's nice. Well, thank you, Wendy. It's been a pleasure. Our team is getting really excited for MJ Impact in a few months. And would you like to share a little bit more about the event and tell us, the best links and social media handles so anyone can reach you?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to have you at MJ Unpacked. We're really excited about it. We are going to be the talk of Cannabis Week, I do believe. And so MJ Unpacked, if you are a cannabis THC brand and you're looking to connect, collaborate with partners, retailers, additional brands in other markets, licensing opportunities, or access capital from investors, you need to be there. If you're a supplier company, we handpick those. So definitely get in touch with us. Website, mjunpacked.com. Social media, MJ Unpacked on Instagram. I'm Wendy at jagemedia.com. Email me directly. and really think about where you want to be and where you want to position your brand and your business moving into the future of cannabis. What's next?
To the future, to the moon, right?
Next level. Let's go.
Let's go.